Hello, everyone, and welcome to this training on protecting and securing an operating system effectively. My name is Kentrell Ziegler. In this presentation, I will explain the key strategies an IT department should use to secure operating systems in a real-world environment. Since the operating system manages access to hardware, applications, memory, user accounts, and many core system functions, protecting it is essential to protecting the entire organization. To begin, I would like to give a quick overview of what this presentation will cover. Here is a quick overview of what I will cover. First, I will explain why operating system security matters so much. Then I will discuss some of the most important protection strategies, including updates, access control, threat prevention, hardening, monitoring, and recovery planning. The goal is to show that operating system security is not just one action, it is a layered process that includes prevention, detection, and response. With that outline in mind, let's start by looking at why operating system security is so important in the first place. Operating system security matters because the operating system is the foundation of the entire computer system. It controls memory, processes, files, hardware access, user authentication, and application behavior. If the operating system is compromised, attackers may be able to steal data, capture credentials, install malware, change system settings, or interrupt business services. In many cases, attackers do not need to break every part of a system. They only need to find one weakness in the operating system to gain a foothold. That is why protecting the operating system is one of the most important parts of protecting the organization as a whole. Now that we understand why operating system security matters, the first major protection strategy to discuss is keeping systems updated. One of the most effective ways to protect an operating system is to keep it updated. Security patches are released to fix known vulnerabilities before attackers can take advantage of them. If an organization delays patching, it gives attackers more time to exploit those weaknesses. IT departments should have a structured patch management process that includes identifying systems, prioritizing critical updates, testing changes when needed, deploying patches, and confirming that updates were applied successfully. This process should include not only the operating system, but also applications, drivers, and firmware, since all of these can affect security. Keeping systems updated is critical, but updates alone are not enough. Another major layer of security is controlling who has access to the system. As I was saying previously, the second major protection strategy is access control. The principle of least privilege means users and applications should only receive the permissions they actually need to perform their work. This is important because excessive access increases the damage that can happen if an account is compromised. For example, if a standard user account is infected, the impact may stay limited. But if an administrator account is compromised, the attacker may be able to disable protections, install software, or move further into the network. That is why IT teams should limit admin rights, use separate accounts for administrative tasks, require strong passwords and multi-factor authentication, and regularly remove inactive or unnecessary accounts. Once access is controlled, the next step is making sure the system is protected against common threats like malware, phishing, and unauthorized software. Threat prevention requires a layered approach that combines technical tools and user awareness. IT departments should use antivirus software, endpoint protection platforms, and built-in operating system security features to detect and block malicious activity. These tools help protect against malware, ransomware, spyware, and suspicious software behavior. However, technology alone is not enough. Many operating system threats begin with phishing emails, unsafe downloads, infected attachments, or removable media. Because of that, users also need training so they can recognize suspicious activity and avoid actions that could put the system at risk. Effective threat prevention happens when security controls and user behavior work together. Preventing threats is important, but IT teams should also make the operating system itself more difficult to attack And that brings us to system hardening. System hardening means reducing the attack surface of the operating system. In simple terms, that means removing or disabling anything that is not needed. Unnecessary services, open ports, unused applications, and insecure default settings can all create opportunities for attackers. IT teams should apply secure baseline configurations, enable host firewalls, use encryption where appropriate, and standardize secure settings across systems. A default installation of an operating system is often designed for convenience, but a hardened system is designed for security. The fewer unnecessary features that are exposed, the fewer chances attackers have to find a weakness. Even when systems are patched, access is limited and configurations are hardened. Security still requires constant attention. That is why monitoring is so important. Even a well-configured operating system must be monitored continuously. Logging and auditing allow IT teams to detect suspicious activity such as repeated failed logins, privilege escalation, unauthorized software installation, unusual processes, or abnormal account behavior. These logs can help security teams spot warning signs early and respond before a small issue becomes a major incident. In larger environments, centralized logging and security monitoring tools can make this even more effective by allowing analysts to see patterns across multiple systems. Monitoring turns operating system security from a one-time setup into an ongoing process of detection and response. Of course, even strong monitoring cannot prevent every incident. This is why organizations also need a plan for backups, response, and recovery. No operating system security plan is complete without recovery. Even strong defenses fail, so organizations must be ready to restore systems and data safely. IT departments should perform regular backups, protect those backups from tampering or ransomware, and test them to make sure that they actually work. If a system is compromised, the device should be isolated quickly to prevent further spread. After that, the team should investigate what happened, preserve important evidence if needed, and restore the system from a clean and trusted image. Recovery planning matters because the speed and quality of the response can make a major difference in how much damage the organization experiences. To make these ideas more concrete, let's look at what would happen when operating system security is weak. This slide brings the earlier points together with practical examples. If a critical operating system is delayed, attackers may exploit a known vulnerability before the IT team responds. If too many users have administrative rights, malware can gain broader control than it should. If monitoring is weak, suspicious activity may go unnoticed until major damage has already been done. And if backups are missing or untested, ransomware can cause much longer downtime and much greater business disruption. The key lesson is that operating system security failures usually do not come from one huge mistake. They often come from several smaller weaknesses building on each other over some time. Now that we have looked at both the protection strategies and consequences of weak security, I want to close with some main takeaways. To conclude, protecting and securing an operating system effectively requires multiple layers of defense working together. IT departments should patch systems regularly, restrict privileges, use strong endpoint protections, harden configurations, monitor activity continuously, and be prepared to recover from incidents. No single security control can secure an operating system by itself. Strong security comes from combining these practices in a consistent and disciplined way. When IT teams do that well, they significantly reduce both the likelihood and the impact of an attack. Finally, here are the references that support the guidance covered in this presentation. These are the references used in this presentation. I relied on trusted guidance from organizations such as CISA, NIST, Microsoft, and Apple because they provide well-established recommendations on patching, access control, malware defense, secure configuration, monitoring, and recovery. Using reliable sources helps ensure that operating system security decisions are based on recognized best practices rather than guesswork. Thank you for your time and attention. That concludes my presentation on protecting and securing an operating system effectively.